wonderful people. Welcome, welcome. My name is Jantje. Happy to have you here on this beautiful channel. And yet another video. Just in time for you. And I'm hoping you get some value out of it. Today I feel like talking something that's been really present with me over the last couple of days specifically, as well as weeks. Months, years really, but it's been really potent. And this morning I happened to think about a video that I watched a long time ago, a TED Talk by Sir Ken Robinson, Does School Kill Creativity? And it's an amazing talk. In case you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. Might just as well link it in the description, so I'll share that with you. And the reason why I feel like sharing that with you is, for me, it reminded me again about how we are driven by society, by our cultures, by our educational systems, to focus on our IQ, to focus on our mental intelligence, not on our emotional intelligence, not on any other of these so-called intelligences. Is that the right word? Sometimes I can really crack myself up. Yes, anyway, you know what I mean. So there is a lot of focus on, and this is nothing new to either of any of us, but there is a lot of focus on information. There is a lot of focus on knowledge, and that knowledge is stored within our beautiful minds. And I'm not bashing any educational system. I was very fond of my education. I went to university. I was, for a certain time, very proud of my degree. That has kind of subsided, but I'm still very proud of that. I actually graduated and everything, like he says in the video as well, like our educational path, for the majority of us, it goes kind of deep. It's something that we identify with. And same for me. Like, I have strongly identified with my educational path in the past. And talking about identification, I listened to yet another video earlier, and that was talking about mourning our old identifications, among lots of other things, but that was one part of the video. And for me, that felt so spot on, because I feel that that is something that many of us have not been allowing that much, to allow us to mourn, to allow us to feel disappointed for things that we might not have achieved or might not yet have achieved. And so we grew up in these societies, and no matter which country you're from, but very likely in the country that you live in, you've also learned that it's good to set goals. That failure is bad, that it's not good to fail, that the educational system is about passing and not so much about failing, and then, do better next time, or you're being encouraged to repeat a class or something like that. So this is how our system was built. And it's obviously a very old structure, and that's, I guess, a topic for another day. That's not something that I want to go into now. My main point that I wanted to drive across, and the plane that I wanted to land, is that I'm inviting you to give yourself space, that whatever goals you might have set yourself in the past, it is okay that you either have not achieved them, and it's okay to be disappointed about it, and it's okay to feel any kind of emotions linked with any so-called identifications that you thought you were. So we've heard a message the other day about an invitation to stop identifying with roles, patterns and programs, and that is very much linked, I guess, to also what I have experienced since that last video. Because I did identify strongly with my educational path, for example. I did identify strongly with some of the jobs that I had in the past. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Like, it was perfect for me at the time. But now that I'm realizing that there were a few things that didn't work out as expected, and I never really allowed myself fully to feel that. So in my case, it was disappointment. And because there were some projects that didn't work out. And I never really allowed myself to feel that. And unless I allow myself to really go into that and to see for what it is and for what it was, that part of me that had expectations, that therefore had a pattern of, okay, I need to meet these expectations. Sometimes those expectations were really high, hard to reach. So it was kind of set up for failure in the first place, some of them. Not all of them, but some of them. Because I used to have very, very high expectations of myself. And they were then kind of destined to fail in that regard. Because the expectation was so high, there was no way that I was going to make it. And obviously, now saying that out loud to you in this video, some of it makes sense to me, some of it absolutely doesn't with my current perspective. And yet, I did the best with what I knew back then. And so I did have a time where I really set goals, where I had milestones, where I was having a Gantt chart and, going deep into that and the whole project management. And now I'm no longer in that space. Like now for me, it's more about setting intentions and dreaming up my future and knowing what it's like and what I want it to be like, what I want it to feel like. Because in the end, that brings me closest to who I truly am. That feeling state, what feels good to me. And yes, on a short time span, those negative feelings obviously don't make me feel good in that moment, but those emotions are also there to be seen and to be processed. And I am here to give them the space to do just that. I'm not here to suppress my emotions. That is not the path that I am choosing now. I've been choosing that in the past. I've been really busy suppressing emotions. I've mentioned that before. And now I'm kind of the opposite. I said okay, bring it on, because I know that I am not my emotions. I know that I'm not my patterns. I know that I'm not my habits. I know that I'm not my programs. And that's the wisdom that I have deep down, that's stored within my soul, within my heart, and that I'm then connecting with. So the permission slip, I guess, I want to give us all is to allow really those kind of revelations and realizations that you might have on this journey. And if you're someone who, has a lot of things currently coming up, then maybe it's of help to you. If it's of help to one person, then I'm totally happy. But I really felt like those deep patterns are strongly coming up. And identification is obviously, at least for me, from where I grew up and how I grew up, something that is very culturally driven, and also in the family that I grew up, there was very much about, what kind of profession you have, how successful you are in, going 9 to 5 and having a good salary and providing for yourself, etc., etc. And so those kind of topics for me, they're also very old, very learned. and can go very deep, like the identification. And for me, that was a particular identification linked with a project that I had, which actually then ended up me stopping my self-employment for a few years actually. And so I chose to take on a part-time job back then, and that to some part of me meant that I was a disappointment. But essentially, the only person that I can disappoint is myself. And that goes for any emotion. Like, I'm using that as an example. But the only person that I can truly, fully disappoint is myself. So yes, it all starts within, and it all comes back to us looking within. And so I cannot disappoint anyone outside of me. I don't have any control whatsoever on how they will react. I do not know that. I do not know. So I'm choosing to not make myself dependent on that, and I'm not getting attached to what other people think of me anymore. That's also one reason why I'm doing these videos, by the way. I don't care as much anymore what people think of me, and that I put these kind of videos out, that I do channel and get access to the different aspects of the spiritual beings. So that's kind of something that I'm putting myself out, and I also don't care anymore what people think of me. And I know that the people that will feel drawn to these videos, that's perfect. And the other ones who don't feel drawn, they won't even see it in their YouTube feed, and that's also perfect. So on that note, I want to channel through a very quick message from my guides, and I don't know who will yet come through, but we will see. But I really felt like, from a human, this was also important to share that with you before we see what kind of channeled message and, I guess, additional downloaded information we can get on that. And before I do that, I quickly wanted to share with you that I will be happening. I will be happening. Yes, I'm always happening. I will be attending an event this Thursday. It's February 12th. It's called Allowing Your Infinite Expansion. And since there's so many beautiful occasions for us to expand, I think the event's going to be beautiful. And I'm going to be one of 7 facilitators hosting a short session at the event. The total event is 3 hours. And in any case, the ticket is only €11. So if you feel like joining, or if you want to tap into the energies afterwards and just allow yourself to refuel your batteries with some high vibe guided meditations, sound healing is going to be part of it, and different channeled sessions and activations. So it's going to be beautiful. And so I just felt like inviting you. And second note, I am starting a group experience on February 27th, which is called Happiness from Within. And it's a 5-week experience. It's also live, so live group calls. And I will put the links in the description. And if you feel called, I'd be delighted to see you. Maybe at both, maybe at either, whatever you feel called to. And now, without further ado, let me hand over the mic to our dear counterparts in the divine spiritual realm. Hello, our dear friend. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, and thank you for tuning in. And we absolutely love this topic. This topic of essentially you putting up really high standards for yourself, and then being disappointed by not meeting them, just because that's what you've learned and because you want other people to see you, because you want to be someone that people can be proud of, because you want to be loved, because you want to be wanted. So yes, we fully agree with Jantje. This is something that most of you have learned from very early on in your families, at school, at your workplaces, in your work settings, in societal settings. Maybe if you were busy, you are busy doing sports, very competitive space. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Let us preface our message to you with that. It is something that you beautiful humans have created in order to have some kind of structure. And it is also to some degree a structure of control. Coming back to the example of the educational system, it was designed for those of you in the Western cultures. It was designed to meet the needs of the industrialization. That's what it was designed for. So yes, it was and is still to this day focused. And yes, there are exceptions, but the majority of the educational systems are focused on academic degrees and grades. And that is a system that is crumbling for a reason. It is crumbling for a reason. And while we are not here to promote any kind of controversy, and that's why we're speaking a little bit slower, because Jantje is wondering where this is going. So we're not here to put the fire hose on any kind of controversy. We're mentioning this in order to make it even more apparent to you that you have learned nearly all of your beliefs, behaviors, patterns and habits. And it's now the time to remind you that you were only born with two primal fears. The fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. That's it. And so to come back to this example, you are not born with the fear of public speaking. You were not born with that. In fact, when we were alive, that structure, that concept wasn't around. So it is created by the societies, by the structures that you grew up in. It is not who you truly are. And the reason why we continue to use Jantje's example is we would like to continue this red thread throughout this conversation that we're having with you to really drive this point home. Now, mid of February, nearly getting close to mid of February, are very intense times on your planet with lots of contrast, maybe even contradictions, maybe oppositions here and there. It is what is needed for change to occur. And it is, from our point of view, perfect, absolutely perfect for you to fully remember who you are. Some of you in the past might have heard an affirmation like, I am the light I am. And in the past, if you would have just said out loud this kind of affirmation, it wouldn't really take you anywhere. You would maybe have some insights here and there, but now it is about feeling, knowing, and embodying your truth. And information like we just said, which has been used by different beautiful beings on your planet. I am the light I am. And we invite you right here and right now to allow yourself to feel this even deeper, because that is your truth, and you are ready now to fully feel it. To fully feel the truth of it, to fully feel your truth of it, because you are that light, for you are that light that you are seeking. That light is not outside of you. That light is not represented by academic degrees, by an amazing job, career. It is from within. That's where the true satisfaction comes from. It comes from within. I am the light I am. I am the light I am. And with that, we close this message for today. Thank you for being here. Thank you.